My name is Vince Lombardi. Last year, the Green Bay Packers won an unprecedented third successive world title. The Green Bay Packers have won 5 world championships in the last 8 years. Winning isn't everything, but it's the only thing. In our business, there is no second place. Either you're first or you're last.
Everybody grabbing out there. Nobody tackling. Just grabbing, everybody. Grab, grab, grab. Nobody tackling. Put your shoulders in there out there. What are they doing through the center of that line out there? Too much out there.
I don't think I'm what everyone seems to want to make me. Let me put it that way. I think I'm just a normal person. I think I'm in a tough business, and I think there's only one way to coach that business, and that's to be as hard as the business is.
Come on, let's beat him up there. Oh, God, get him out of there, will you?
I think if you're honest at the same time, and I think that's the important thing. You can be hard and still be honest and still be truthful with the people that you're with, and I think this is the important thing. I don't think anyone really minds toughness or hardness as long as you're dealing with them in an honest way.
I'll tell you something, Leroy, you're not going to get your job back unless we get a better performance. Yep. Hey, what about that now? He had him on he had him by the shirt. He had him by the shoulder pad. He didn't have him by the mask. What the hell's going on out here? Hey, interference! Interference!
In spite of what everyone says once more, I don't think I'm any different than most people.
Football is that we're playing out here today. What the hell's going on out here?
I think that the martinets and the so forth and the Little Caesar and so forth that they're trying to make me, I think is greatly overdone, frankly.
Come on now, come on, where's your life out here? Let's go now, a little life out here. Let's have a little life out here. We look like we're half dead out here. Let's move a little bit.
As coach, everybody must do what their own personality dictates for them to do. There are some coaches and there are some people and there are some business people, some leaders who are very, very successful by being very, very close to their employees, to the members of the team, whatever. I went by just the opposite approach, by being aloof and not allowing themselves to get close. But I don't think this can be planned. I don't think I can sit down and say, well, I'm Vince Lombardi, and from now on, I'm just not going to get close to the players because that is my personality. I think for someone to try to copy someone else's personality is a mistake, especially and particularly in the coaching profession. I think you should look at other people's personality, and I think you should not copy so much, but rather learn from other people's way of doing things.
Right up the middle. Nobody blocked at all. Real great. Great football player. Real great up there.
There are 3 things, as far as I am concerned. One is the man's family and his religion, and number 3 must be the Packer football team. And this is what we want.
I came here myself the first year in January of 1959, I guess it would be. And I went back to New York and picked up Mrs. Lombardi and the rest of my children, and my 2 children, not the rest of my children, Mrs. Lombardi and the rest of my children. She'd love that. And my 2 children, and we drove out here. In fact, I can remember driving from Milwaukee to Green Bay, and we couldn't even see the side roads. We looked like we were driving in a tunnel. Snow was piled. What a snowstorm they must have had that year, because the snow was really piled up 8 feet on the sides, really. Just like driving in a tunnel all the way. My family was kind of depressed. They were in a state of flux here, there's no question about that. They had a lot of petty jealousies here amongst the directors and among the executive committee and the coaches, and everything was in a complete chaotic condition here. There's no question about that in Green Bay. They had talked to me about the coach and general manager, too, was part of it, but it was a question of where the authority lay and how much authority I would have in both positions. And I just wanted complete authority. And Knowing the background here, a little bit of the background here, I didn't feel that I could accept the job in Green Bay as just the coach or vice versa. It had to have full authority. Whatever I did there was done at nights and late nights or early mornings. The first thing I had to do was get a staff. And after that, it was a question of getting them all to Green Bay so we could look over those movies together, and that's what we did.
Yeah.
We analyzed every football player that we had, every one of them. We graded every football player. We looked at every game that they played for the last 2 years that they were there. In other words, we took Greg and we analyzed him. We graded him on everything that he did for 2 years. And we did the same thing with Skoronski and the same thing with everybody else that was on the team.
You're the chief man?
We made up our minds at that particular time that Horning, who has played all over the place as quarterback and as fullback and so forth and so on, we made up our minds then that if Horning was going to play for the Green Bay Packers, he would have to play as a halfback. And we felt he would make a real good one. We felt that he had a lot of ability, and we just shoved around a little bit too much. We had a lot of fullbacks. We weren't too sure. Taylor played 1 or 2 real good ball games at the end of the 1958 season, which was enough to make us believe that he had some possibility. With Horning and Taylor. And we did the same thing with everybody. We analyzed everybody in that way, defensively and offensively. We felt we need a great deal of defensive help, and that's what we started to do. And we made all our trades defensively. We did everything to bolster our defense. And of course, I think it's paid off for us. And we have consistently, year in and year out, fine defensive ball clubs here. Any particular boy we draft, or we're considering drafting, we get as many as 50 reports on. If there's anything in the reports that make us a little bit doubtful about what the boy's character is, he's a troublemaker, or he's a bad boy, he's a drinker, or he runs around, you see, we ding him, see him, put him out. We will just not draft him.
Tell you how proud we are to have you a part of the Packers. Just as you should be proud to be here, to be a part of this team. One thing about the Packers, it's a team with a great tradition, a great and a wonderful tradition. And that tradition, or that, whatever you want to call it, that glory that is the Packers, has been developed to one thing only, and that's pride. Everybody has ability, but pride and performance is what makes the difference.
Boy's either aggressive by nature or he isn't. There's no way I can change him.
Come on, look at me, 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 look at me.
All the preparation in the world, I don't think, all of my preparation in the world is not going to prepare a boy to be aggressive. There's some boys that are more aggressive than others. I think anyone who plays football has to have a certain amount of aggressiveness. That's the premise you start with. I didn't think of what their morale was. I've got to say that. I didn't come in and have a meeting with the players and say myself, I wonder what their morale is going to be. I wonder how they're going to accept me. I said to myself, they're going to have to accept me. I'm not worried about their morale. I'm worried about Vince Lombardi's morale here.
The men who wanted to stay, they're still here. And let me tell you this, Green Bay is a great town for football.
Whatever was in that bottle worked.
It feels good on the scalp is happy, the hair's happy.
I want to know, what is it?
It's Advanced Head & Shoulders Shampoo and Conditioner.
We came close to winning the Western Division title in 1959, which, in a way, I'm happy we didn't, because that would have been too much of a, too quick a start. We might have been all different people now. But in 1960, I can't remember too much about 1960, but I do remember the championship game very, very, very accurately.
On first down, Van Brocklin throws a swing pass to Billy Barnes. Bill Quinlan intercepts, and it's first down Green Bay at the Eagle 14.
We were down there early in the game, and we had a real good field goal kicker in Horning, and it was close enough to almost be 100% sure that he was going to make the 3 points. But we went for the touchdown. We got it so early, we felt we were in there so close, we'd get the first down and get a touchdown. And we didn't make it, by the way, which means that we turned the ball over to Philadelphia without getting 8 points, you see. If we had kicked, we would have had 3 points. Philadelphia took over. Now, if you remember, we had scored the 3 points then. At the end of the game, we were making a great drive when we had the ball on Philadelphia's 9-yard line. Clock ran out on us. If we had scored the 3 points earlier, we could have kicked another 3 points to win the game. It's a great letdown, of course. I think if anyone has to take the blame, if you want to put it that way, if the fault belongs anyplace, and the loss of the championship game to Philadelphia, it must belong on Vince Lombardi's lap. We thought we had an excellent chance to win. We thought we should have won the ball game. We thought we played an excellent ball game all the way through. Philadelphia beat us, that's true, but Philadelphia beat us with good football. They beat us with Van Brocklin. But it was a great experience for us, for the Green Bay Packers. And it's not the worst thing in the world to lose once in a while when you lose this way, dear sir. I was never one to rant and rave after a loss, especially if we played well. A lot of people say that Vince Lombardi doesn't like to lose. Well, of course I don't. I don't think it's abnormal not to want to lose. I think it's very normal to want to win all of the time. But I also realize that no one can win each and every time they go out. It's impossible. Yes, I do remember the game somewhat. It was the first time, I think, that a championship game had been played in Green Bay as such. So we were very, very proud. It was on national television. I know I was extremely proud of exhibiting what we think was an excellent physical setup here in Green Bay.
Direct from New York come the famous Peppermint Lounge Twisters and their original version of the twist.
And, of course, the fact that we played so well in that game, and we did. Oh, I remember Horning and Taylor played an extremely fine football game, as did Ron Kramer. We ran the ball extremely well.
Taylor storms through the weary Giants, picking up 33 yards.
The Star was superb in that particular game. It was really, just had a great day.
Kramer, meanwhile, has run a beautiful pattern, blocking, then releasing, to work himself free to make the catch.
Everything we did just happened to break right for us. That's the reason you win 37-0, not because you are 37 points better than the other team. Everything just goes right for you, and everything goes wrong for the other team. And those days happen, and they happen sometimes in championship games.
In fabled Yankee Stadium, the New York Giants, tops in the East, meet the best of the West, the Green Bay Packers. A year ago, these two teams met at Green Bay for the championship. That day belonged to the Packers, 37-0. Now the Giant fans want revenge.
Well, I don't think we're any smarter than anybody else, but I do think we organize well. Organization has a great deal to do with it.
It's all over. The Packers know they're world champions for the second year in a row, and they like it. To Coach Vince Lombardi, this may have been the greatest game ever played. He can't be sure.
I don't feel that for one moment that I've reached the top of anything that I've done, and I think everyone strives for that. And I'd like to keep winning as long as I can.
It's NCAA March Madness, when passion, performance, and capability make the difference. And now GMC puts it all out on the floor with 0% financing for 60 months on every new GMC Sierra 15.
I think of football as a running game. I mean, I get a great deal of enjoyment out of seeing a well-executed running play. I get more enjoyment out of seeing a well-executed running play than I do looking at a well-executed pass play. It takes greater timing, greater execution of more people involved in a running play than it is in a pass play.
I would say that the number one play in our offensive category is the power sweep, as we call it. Actual number of that play is 49, and the reciprocal of that is 28. 49, 28. It's the power sweep. Actually, it's the lead play in our offense. This is the play we feel that every defense that we face must stop. This is the play that we feel that every team that we face must feel that they have to stop. This is what we call running to daylight.
I've always felt it's kind of silly to run into an area which is clogged up. You might just as well run to an area in which there was daylight, in which there was no one in there in that particular area. That's what we mean by daylight. Run to daylight.
Daylight wherever it shows. Inside the defensive tackle, inside the defensive end, inside the defensive linebacker. That play could break any one of those three places, besides, of course, the ideal place outside the defensive linebacker. There's nothing spectacular about it. It's just a yard gainer.
There's nothing unusual about the play. It was a play that I picked up many years ago.
Actually, this play originated after a copy, possibly, of what the old Jock Sutherland single wing sweep was. It's exactly that kind of a play. It's altogether different, of course, in that it's run from the tee, and it's altogether different in that the back does run to daylight on this particular play. The Green Bay offense is only as successful as the Green Bay sweep is. It's a kind of a play that can be a sweep. It's a kind of a play that can be an off-tackle play. It's a kind of a play that can run inside also. And it's all one and the same play. That's what makes the play such a great play. It's very difficult to describe without a blackboard, really.
We ask our lead guard to pull hard to the outside and kick out on a halfback who's usually forcing out on the outside here. Our center, since this is the particular blocking we use, we ask him to block as an odd situation and take the middle linebacker. Our off guard pulls hard as the left guard did, and he finds the first opening. If the opening is inside the linebacker, he will take it and seal inside. If the end has the linebacker taken in, he will come around it and seal inside. If you look at this play, what we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here, and to try to run this play in the alley, in here.
The so-called Lombardi sweep, or the Green Bay sweep, as it's sometimes referred to, is a hard-nosed football play, really. That's one of the reasons I like it. I think it's the kind of a play that brings everybody up on the bit, that brings everybody up on the mark.
Gentlemen, this is the most important play we have. It's the play we must make go. It's the play that we will make go. And it's the play that we will run again and again and again. 49-28.
To Jim Taylor on a power sweep, cutting back to the 10. Taylor is in for the
The super slow-motion camera details the meticulous blocking on this typical Green Bay sweep. Blocks by Thurston, Anderson, and Dale help Horning through the first line of defense.
To tell you, I've forgotten I really don't know how many times we ran it in that last game. The same play, basically the same play. There was a slight variation to this particular play, and we do vary a little bit. We realize, for example, that everyone knows they have to stop the play. In order to stop it, they must do certain things. So we vary a little bit against certain teams and against certain defensive personnel. In fact, however, I think rather than 49, we used the reciprocal in this particular game, and that was because of our scouting reports and so forth and so on. We felt beforehand that 28 would be a better play for us than the 9. In other words, going to a right, we thought that left would be better. Broke it once for a real good game, and broke it again, I believe, for a touchdown later on in the game. I think that the one thing that makes me happy is to see a perfectly run play. I think this has to be the most important thing. Everybody in the right position at the right angle. I think this is what I strive for, at least.
Any player may make or break a play, a game, a season. There are approximately 150 plays in a football game,
And there are only 3 or 4 plays in any game which make the difference between winning and losing. No one knows when the big play is coming up. Therefore, every player must go all out on every play.
I think coaching is teaching. See? I don't think there's any difference whether you teach on the football field or whether you teach in the classroom. They're both exactly the same.
The big word in professional football is execution. All players succeed on the blackboard, but men make them work.
Football has a basic position. Feet spread, knees flexed, a slightly sitting position with the weight evenly distributed. It is from this position that all football movements must stem.
It's a question of a good teacher puts across what he must put across to his pupils. And whether it's done on the football field or whether it's done in the classroom is one and the same thing. Yes, there is a difference. Both you prepare mentally, but one, of course, without any physical exertion. The other, of course, does require the physical extension.
Go ahead now! You had him! Snap it! Let's go. The quarterback stance should be as comfortable as possible, with the feet spread approximately the width of the shoulders, with the toes pointed straight ahead, the weight on the balls of the feet, and at the same time the heels still flat to the ground.
I think in order to be a teacher, you must be able to communicate. That's number one. You must have some means of communication between the teacher and his pupils. So we're going to use the 4-pass for this thing.
Here in Green Bay, we know the game is built around 8 key plays. 8 plays that bring victory to the team and to the men that master them.
First, if you look at first of all of the defensive people are strong and not too agile. I think there has to be a reason for the communication, you see. A lot of times, by the way, both these halfbacks are real bad on flies. Geez, if we don't throw, we got to throw at least 10 or 12, 15 flies in this ball. They can't cover. It's not enough for me, for example, to address my football team and say, well, this is the defense that we are going to use against the New York Football Giants or against the Cleveland Browns this week. This will be this, and we'll use the zone defense and so forth. I think in order to have the pupil understand this is the reason we are going to use the zone defense, because the Cleveland Browns stress this type of an attack. Therefore, we feel that the zone defense is the best defense against that particular attack, and here is the reason why. See? So you show them how and why. You explain it to them. Once they understand that, the reason why, now they are no longer just a pupil, they are a performer. They understand, they'll do it, and do it the right way.
If you go from Brown, if you go to Brown, you're going to get Zeke, and you're going to be able to throw that 4-pass right into it.
Well, in other words, 68 goals, 2nd and 7.
Well, that's good.
I figured it was great because we didn't have any force out there.
They didn't.
Every man must be committed to excellence. Every man must be committed to victory.
Milk, we feel, is a perfect food. In fact, we consider it a fundamental food of our diet on a training table. And by way of and it should be, I believe, a fundamental food in all of our diets. And by way of interest, last year the Packers consumed, and that's a good word for it in this case, consume. I can't think of a better word to describe it. 968 gallons of milk, and this was only in the training table. What they drink and eat after, as far as milk is concerned, I do not know. But during the training season, which is some 7 weeks, 968 gallons of milk. They consume 340 pounds of cheese, cottage and otherwise, 260 gallons of ice cream, and 996 pounds of butter.
NFL Network presents the greatest games in Super Bowl history. Namath, Bradshaw, Montana. See the original games again. NFL Super Bowl Classics, Saturday at 8, Super Bowl 30, exclusively on NFL Network.
Vince Lombardi has made the Green Bay Packers one of the greatest teams in the history of the National Football League. Year after year, they're battling to the wire for the championship. He places a great deal of emphasis on defensive and offensive team starts. Vince feels you start beating your opponent at the line of scrimmage by getting the jump on him each time the ball is put in play. It requires hard hitting from a good stance with no wasted motion.
I think I've always been a defensive coach rather than an offensive coach. Even though I've worked with the offense a great deal, but actually my thoughts have always been defensive football.
Phil! Phil! Now let's get that defense up on a bit a little bit here now.
Hey, supposed to be a hell of a defensive club. It didn't look like it to me. All the way down, about 70 yards.
All of football is a game of emotion, per se. I mean, it's an emotional game. It's a game that requires great physical effort. It's a game that doesn't require the motions in order to be successful in it. But defensively and offensively, there is a difference in the use of those emotions. Offensively, it's a very technical operation. Therefore, you have to control your emotions, you see.
We tell our ball carrier to come across hard and fast till he gets the ball. Once he gets it, to come under control and button hook slightly. Key the block on the linebacker, or key the block of the YN.
Defense, you can let your emotions run wild, more or less. I think the more emotional you are, the better defensive game you will play. Because defense, I think, is a game of reaction. You react to what the offense does.
The successful passing offense is built around timing and precision. That's where it begins, and therefore it follows that the successful defense against the pass must begin with the effort of those men up front, the defensive line. They must destroy the timing and the precision of the pass, and they destroy it by their rush.
What are you doing out there? Come on, let's get a little rush out there. Come on out there, put your shoulders in there. Let's get a little pass rush out there. Come on here. What is going on out there? We got no rush on him at all, Phil. None whatsoever. Standing back there.
Of course, it's very important that if you have not reached the passer, if you can't get to him, get your hands up. Get your hands up as he starts to throw, to force the elevation of the ball, to force the elevation of the ball higher. To bat the ball down or make him pull it down and run with it. In other words, make that passer lose confidence in his pass protection. Demoralize him and his team with him.
For the love of Pete! What's going on out there? They're crying out loud. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Well, we missed tackles. Boy, do we miss it. Put your shoulders in that tackle. They got to hold him now, boys. Come on, tighten up out there. Green, don't let him get out of there.
Defense is play recognition, pursuit, and containment. Play recognition, of course, is seeing the same play over and over again, and by seeing it, of course, you become aware of it and you become used to playing against it. Containment is to keep everything contained for the pursuit to attack it. Pursuit, however, is the heart of a defense. Pursuit is a man's responsibility. Pursuit is dedication. Pursuit is persistence. It's getting to the ball carrier on the shortest course, taking the proper angle, and when you get there in an angry mood. Defense. The defense may bend, but must always contain. It must never break.
Coach, what about the Green Bay Packers? Hasn't this actually been a rebuilding year for you?
Well, to some extent, some of the rebuilding has been forced on me due to many things, due to injuries mostly.
Hey, Doc. Doc. Trusty, what about Ben here?
I doubt you'll find any of my players complain about anything.
You say that next.
As far as the game is concerned, I mean. They may complain about me, but they won't complain about the game.
Doctor said no, you'll have to get him. I can't. He said you're not ready. I don't know what he means by that. All right, Elijah, don't worry about it. Elijah! Don't worry about it.
Got a hip point over here when he ran that ball that time. but he should be all right. He'll be sore for a while, I'm sure. Tough kid.
What has been the most satisfying experience to come out of this as far as
It's been a very frustrating season. The most satisfying experience is the fact that we're in this thing at all.
59 minutes and 15 seconds, the big plays came on attack. But the one big play which decided the championship of the National Football League was by the defense.
I don't think you can win consistently in the National Football League unless you got a #1 defense. I think if you go through the history of the National Football League, you find that teams that are the champions year in and year out are the teams that have the best defense.
I can say this, that I would say the first year, I doubt there will be a letdown, really, because I really think there's going to be a great deal of pride in the National Football League champion. There's going to be a great deal of pride in the American Football League champion. So I don't think there'll be a letdown.
And here we go. And the Super Bowl is underway. Of the Packers scores the first touchdown of the Super Bowl game.
Boy, he made a magnificent catch on that. That was a one-hander.
Dawson Fate is lobbing the ball. Touchdown! We've got a tie ball game. Green Bay 7 and Kansas City 7.
This is a famous power sweep of Green Bay.
Well, it's been a great game here in the first half. Green Bay a 2-touchdown favorite. There's his boot, and it is good. Kansas City scores. A big rush on, and it is intercepted with a rush on. He was laying back waiting for that one. He had only one interception in this game, and it was a costly one for Kansas City. And Willie Wood intercepts and goes 51 yards.
Time, I thought it was going to go all the way on the daggone thing. Did somebody flick the toe or something? Yeah, kind of. Somebody came from behind, you know. I was undecided whether to change field or not on that thing.
It's to Pitts. Pitts is over for a score. Green Bay strikes quickly here.
Where's Anderson? We got me one up. You went for Pitts.
Fake to Taylor. Starr shoots it, and it's a touchdown to Max McGee.
What a day,
As the Green Bay Packers on their way to the first Super Bowl championship. 3, 2, 1, that's it. The gate's down. And Vince Lombardi being congratulated.
Vinny, this is the first Super Bowl trophy, and it's something Green Bay can keep. We're going to have a new trophy each year, so you and your squad certainly deserved it. It was a fine game.
Thank you, Pete. We're very, very happy to be able to present the National Football League and very happy to win the trophy.
How do you compare now the NFL with the AFL?
That's a good football team, and it doesn't compare with the National Football League teams. That's what you want me to say? I said it.
Today, I plan on working my phone without worrying about my bill. I plan on calling back Justin, Troy, Brad. Hey, Brad. Not Brad. I plan on telling my brother what I really think about his girlfriend and telling everybody everything I've been holding back. This is gonna be fun.
So this is the house Lombardi built.
No, this is the house the fans built. Lombardi's job is to keep it filled, and the best way to keep it filled is with the championship team.
Coach, could you spare a few more minutes with me?
Sure. What more do you want to know?
Well, you've turned the Packers into a team of champions. You've done something with your players that's given them this will to succeed. Could you turn me into a sales champion?
I don't know, but let's give it a try. Come on, we'll start with the fundamentals. Here, you're the ball carrier, and I guess you could say that the ball is the product. Your teammates, those who are dressed in green, are the people who back up your sale. The sales manager, your selling partners, and the engineers.
I see. And I suppose the defensive team would be the customer.
You could say that they were your opponent, and how well you carry the ball, or whether you make the sale or not, is dependent upon a few basic rules.
Yeah, but you're talking about a game of physical contact. There's a big difference between that and selling.
Now, this may not apply as directly to selling, but then again, maybe it does. I think good physical condition is vital to success. I should think good physical conditioning is essential to any occupation. Fatigue makes cowards of us all. It's a state of mind, that's all. You might call it character in action.
Coach, I've got an idea. Suppose for a minute I'm a player on the first day in this dressing room. What would you say to me?
You have been selected, you have been invited here because we believe you have the necessary talent and the ability to do the job. If you have the dedication, the total commitment, and the pride necessary to become a part of this team that has been built on pride, you will stay here. Just to make sure you won't forget this day, I have a little souvenir for you. Oh. There's the ball, salesman. Let's see you run the daylight.
Thank you very much, Coach.
You're welcome.
For everything. Sit down, Mr. Lombardi. I'm about to close the sale.
If you have any kind of pride or any kind of dedication or any kind of backbone or spunk to you, you should try to be the best in your own profession, regardless of what it is.
Remember what I said in the dressing room, right? Thousands of people here in the stands, and there are millions of people on television, and everyone looking, and all with speculation to see what kind of a game the Green Bay Packers are going to play today, right? Right. I want you to be proud of your profession. It's a great profession. You be proud of this game, and you can do a great deal for football today. Great deal for all the players in the league and everything else. Go out there and play this ball game like I know you can play it. Let's go! Let's go!
Anybody who thinks that just to play or just to take part, and that's all that's necessary, I think he's in the wrong business. I think he's in the wrong country. Let me put it that way.
I think after all these years, Mike, that I could come out here and be nice and relaxed. Geez, I'm a nervous wreck.
I think one of the things that made America great is to try to be the best in everything that they do. And the best is signified by winning.
When the sunshine
I think football, because of its red-bloodedness, if you want to call it that, because it is a team effort and it's not an individual effort the way baseball is, I think this has great attraction for the public, really. They like to see 11 people execute all at once, you see, and they like to see the 11 250-pound guys hit each other, and it's just something about the sport that American people like.
begins the count. Takes the snap. He's got the quarterback sneak, and he's able to touchdown. The Packers are out in front. And the Green Bay Packers are going to be world champions, NFL champions for the third straight year.
In the past, you said that your Packer team had character. Can you compare this with any of the other ones? Everybody always says, is this one of the greatest Packer
It's a little bit too early to compare anything with anyone. We have another game to play, so we'll have to wait before we give this club any kind of a name just yet. We'll have a name for them, though, pretty soon.
Coach, how many days rest? How many days rest before getting ready for the big one?
Well, we'll come back to work here Wednesday.
They always work for Vince Lombardi, right?
That's right.
Good luck to you, Coach.
Thank you. Thank you.
I've never felt that I was complacent, or my team was complacent, if you want to call it that. I never lost my desire to win. I don't think I was ever filled up with myself. I think championships are there to be won. And the fact that you win one, or you win two, or you win three doesn't mean to say that you should be filled up. No. I think you should win as many as you can, and every time you go out there, you should try to win.
Did they do anything on offense?
What's that?
Did they do anything on offense?
No, nothing.
You pretty much took their outside running game away.
Yes.
That was one of the big...
Well, no, very few teams have run on the outside on us. We got a real quick defensive ball club, and it's hard to run outside on us.
Thank you, Ben. Thinking on your vacation?
What's that?
Are you going to do a lot of thinking on your vacation?
No, I'm just going to relax. I'm not even going to let the wheels turn. Yes. I'd just like to say that I'm real pleased with everything, and I'm very, very, very grateful, really, believe me. I think they got a great bunch of boys, and they certainly deserve what they got.
Marty, second world champion.
I hope this is a habit.
It's become a semi-habit, Vinny. Congratulations for the second year in a row. Wonderful performance by a fine football club and a great coach.
I think the question has to be asked. There's been so much speculation.
Well, I'm not ready. It's much too early for me to say anything. I'm going to give Vince Lombardi a good hard look. And what I have to say, gentlemen, is not completely without emotion, and a decision that was arrived at only after a great deal of thought and a great deal of study, and with the full knowledge of the Executive Committee of the Green Bay Packers. Gentlemen, let me introduce to you now the new head coach of the Green Bay Packers, Mr. Phil Bengtson. It is a singular honor, and particularly so since I think most times this is done, streets are named after only the deceased. I hope this is not... I just want you to know I'm not dead. But I do want to express my gratitude. I told the commission I think they blew it, however, when they called it Lombardi Avenue. With a little imagination and looking into my background, they might have called it Via Lombardi. But again, my gratitude. And for all of you people who are here today, there'll never be a ticket issued on Lombardi Street or Avenue. Thank you.
I loved coaching. The game itself, the game of football, is a great game. It's an American game. It's a Spartan game. It's got all the qualities that go into making a man, making a leader. I think it's got so much to offer, and I think it's got so much to offer to the public. I think I've ever been satisfied, really. I don't know what you mean by satisfied. I'm happy. I'm happy with what has been done and what the team has done and what maybe I have done, but I don't think I've ever been satisfied. I can go back in many areas and say, well, I could have done a little bit better in that particular area. That's as best I can explain it.